On Monday, September 19th, Hiller girls soccer lost a rainy game versus Medfield 4-1. It was the Hillers' first loss of the season. They fell to 2 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie overall. Also that Monday, Hiller boys soccer took the road win in Medfield 2-1. Hopkinton improved to 2-1 with the victory. Hiller field hockey also captured a 4-3 win in Medfield and improved to 2-2 on the season. Hiller boys soccer were on the road to take on Dover Sherborne on Thursday, September 22nd. They took the 5-2 win and improved to 4-1. Dover Sherborne fell to 3-3. Hillers girls soccer hosted Dover Sherborne. The Hillers captured a 3-0 shutout win and got back in the win column, improving to 3-1. Dover Sherborne fell to 2-3-1. Hiller girls volleyball hosted Shrewsbury Thursday night. They fought hard, but fell to the Colonials of Shrewsbury 3-1. Hiller field hockey hosted Dedham on Friday, September 23rd. It was a scoreless game into the second quarter. Sent over Perloff. As my papers blow all over the place, puts it in! Look at that! Nice goal there by the Hillers. Camille Perloff makes it 1-0. Off the penalty corner. Camille Perloff nets a goal, and the Hillers were clinging on to a 1-0 lead in the fourth quarter. No time left on the clock, but Dedham had a penalty corner opportunity. Here we go. Or if there's a turnover, rather. There has to be a turnover. And it is kicked away. The Hillers hang on for the 1-0 win. The defense got the job done today. And the Hillers dealt with all the pressure they could handle as Dedham in that second half just kept coming at them. A great game between two very good teams. Great saves by Madison Hadley and tremendous defense allows the Hillers to hang on and win the game 1-0. The Hillers improved to 3 wins, 2 ties, and 2 losses on the season. Dedham falls to 2 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie. Hiller girls volleyball hosted Dedham on Friday. Steve Sweetapple and Matt Clancy on the call.
Side out for the Marauders. McNamara back to serve. Olivia handles that. Cube picks it off the net. Kept alive by Emily. Nice play from Katie. Hebert's there. Cooper, back set, Hardenbrook. And that's it. Hopkinton takes the first set, 25-13. Close this out, Abby. First ball. Oh. Hardenbrook. Hebert. Cooper, outside. Tipped. Good swing. That's it. Hopkinton takes the second set, 25-17. Girls are going to switch sides. Take that first one. There you go. Well done, ladies. Good serve. Dedham handles it well, though. Sienna, Kelly. Adriana just rolls it. to rotation now. Adriana has to roll it again. It works. And we're at match point. Poulette's there. And that's it. Hopkinton takes this third set 25-23 for a 3-0 sweep.
The Hillers take down Dedham via a sweep. Dedham falls to 2-6. The Hillers improve to 4-3 on the season. On Saturday, September 24th, the Hopkinton Hillers varsity football team was in Westboro for their third game of the season. The Hillers took down the Rangers of Westboro 39-13. Hillers football now stands at 3 wins and no losses on the season. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this segment of HCAM Sports Talk. Tom Nappy here, and today on the show, we have none other than Jared Keene. Jared, how are you?
Doing well, Tom. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing just great. Almost as good as Bailey Zappe.
Just another Monday. Yeah,
Yes.
Bailey Zappe.
He looked pretty good.
He did. Came in, threw the ball around a little bit, ran the offense the way he should. And, for a little bit there, the offense actually looked like a somewhat decent offense. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, good fight. Tough game, tough L, but good fight.
Yes, it was a good fight. I don't know. Is Mac Jones' job in danger? That's what I was thinking of because you and I have talked about this. He hasn't really improved since last season. It almost looks like at times he might have even taken a step back. So could his job possibly be in danger here with Bailey Zappe, especially if Zappe gets another start next week, which is, I think, pretty likely because Mac Jones expected to miss, I think, at least 2 weeks, but obviously that could
Probably
change.
at least 2 weeks, yeah.
But could we see a fight for that starting quarterback position here, Jared?
I think we could. I don't know, call me crazy again. I mean, the sample size is pretty small for Zappe, but from what I've seen, yeah, I think we could. And again, Mac's been struggling a bit. Obviously, now he's dealing with an injury. Yeah, I mean, I think coming off his injury or whatever, when he's finally maybe fully healthy, you could see, and Zappe continues to improve. You could probably see a battle. And again, Mac hasn't done anything to really separate himself from anybody else. Yeah, I mean, he's the starting quarterback, but again, like we've talked about, we haven't seen much progression from Mac, and yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think we're expecting a big step up this year. He comes in his first season. He looks okay. He looks like he certainly has potential. But then here in his second year, he's making a lot of the same mistakes, throwing a lot of the same kind of interceptions, turning the ball over quite a bit, something we didn't see much out of Zappe.
Yeah.
And I think it would be healthy for the Patriots to make this a contest for that starting position. I think Mac needs to have more pressure put on him.
I agree. I think it may bring the best out of each of them. Push each other a little bit. Maybe help each other improve. Yeah, no, I agree, definitely.
I'll tell you, it kind of shocked me a little bit. You see Bailey just walk out there on a Lambeau Field, third string, fresh out of college, hasn't played a snap of regular season NFL football yet, and he looked pretty comfortable. He
almost led his team to victory. Again, yeah, I mean, not many people probably expected the Patriots to probably be even in that game. So
I know I didn't.
I certainly didn't either.
They were very much in that game. In fact, I would say that was probably their most impressive performance of the season, especially with what they were working with to go toe-to-toe with that Green Bay Packers team and Aaron Rodgers, who's one of the greatest regular season quarterbacks, especially ever. but that was very impressive, and the defense looked pretty good. The secondary was still the biggest weakness, I guess, but they weren't even that bad.
I mean, they had a pick six at least, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah, they did some
Jack
good
Jones
things.
played a great game actually too. He played really well.
Yeah, I'd
So
say as a team that was the most impressive performance. It's even more impressive than the win over Pittsburgh, especially after watching Pittsburgh lose to the Jets yesterday.
oh my gosh, that was atrocious. What a
That was
bad loss.
unreal. But hey, the Jets have now beaten the Titans and the Steelers. I think they might be better than we all thought they were going to be. At
I mean,
first,
I think we expected every other team in the AFC East to be improved. You know, I mean, a lot of those other teams in the AFC East, including the Jets, made some moves to try to get better.
right.
Yeah, and I mean, the Jets have obviously looked pretty poor in some games this year, but like you said, they have a couple of solid wins. So can't take that away. And again, we know how dangerous Buffalo is, and Miami is improved. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. The AFC East used to be such a cakewalk, and now it's Patriots in last place.
You know what? It might be the right now. If you're looking at each and every division, I don't know if there's a division tougher than the AFC East right now.
It's up there. I would say it's up there for sure.
The West has been kind of a letdown with the Raiders not really showing much improvement. They
Yep.
got a well needed win yesterday, first win of the season.
Yep.
And the Chargers, they've had a few letdowns. They look like
They
maybe
have.
they've even taken a step back.
Yep.
Kansas City is just doing normal Kansas City things. They're just very impressive. Mahomes was unbelievable in Sunday Night Football, and they crushed my Tampa Bay Buccaneers or my Tampa Brady Buccaneers. I wasn't happy about that.
I'm just upset. I switched on picks last week, last minute there. I think I had initially taken the Chiefs and then switched to the Bucks, and certainly whiffed on that.
Well, I'm not because you're already 6 games ahead of me, so we don't
Uh,
need to make it 7. Speaking of that, we are going to get into our what week is it? Week 5 already, right?
Week 5.
Our
Yep.
Week 5 NFL picks.
Line.
And, we all did a little better last week, especially me, who finally finished above 500 for a week. That was nice. I think it might have been my first week finishing above 500, which is pretty sad. So that's why we have the disclaimer, folks. Don't go with what we do.
Do not listen to us.
Don't listen to us.
We like to think we know what we're talking about, but whether that's actually true or not is
Yes, that could be left up for debate.
yeah.
But you had a good week, so maybe they should listen to you. You went 11-4. I ended up going 8 and or excuse me, you went 10-5. I went
Yep, so I
8
took a
and
loss left.
7. I almost gave you another win there. I don't think you need more.
No, I don't need them.
Not that you need it. Let's see. Andy went 10 or make that 11-4 because he picked Kansas City.
He did take Kansas City.
And then you had Steve go 10-5, and Mike went 9-6. I went 9-6. So there you go. That's we'll let the crowd in on a secret. We are recording this on a Monday, so we haven't seen the Monday Night Football game yet. But those were our Sunday NFL picks. Pretty crazy week of football in general. You started the Sunday off with Minnesota, New Orleans, and London, which I think might have been the best game that London's ever got. That game was very back and forth. Minnesota looked like they were going to run away with it, but New Orleans said not so fast. They kind of got back into the game. And then you just had some wild finishes in the 1:00 game. Cleveland blowing it to Atlanta, which doesn't typically happen. Usually it's Atlanta blowing it in the end. Buffalo overcoming a 17-point deficit.
Yep, and Baltimore blew it. They had a chance to kick a game-tying field goal and tried to go for a touchdown, and yeah, that was bad.
Yes. And I don't. Baltimore might have a problem here. They can't close out these games. They're having some issues. And
Yeah.
what was that decision by Harbaugh to not go for the game tying field goal, tied up at
Yeah.
23, and for certain have an overtime, or actually you would have took the lead at the time. It was
Yep.
Buffalo who hit the game winning field goal, but that would have been a game tying field goal if you just kicked it right through. They were what, at the 5 yard line or something like
Yep.
that, and tried to run it into the end zone. Very stupid decision. With a team like Buffalo, you can't make decisions like that and expect it
No.
to go well usually.
Especially when you had Buffalo on the ropes. You had Buffalo on the ropes, and
Yep.
you blew it. And I don't know if you saw, Ravens defensive back Marcus Peters was pretty hot about, trying to get in Harbaugh's face after the game. Clearly unhappy with the decision, and again, I don't blame him. I don't blame him in the slightest. That was awful.
No, I don't either. I certainly don't blame him. I would have been pretty heated.
Yep,
If,
that was poor. That was poor.
yes, and typically you don't see Harbaugh make decisions like that, but I'd say that was probably one of his worst of his career.
Yep.
And the Washington Commanders, they lost as everyone expected. I think there's college teams that could beat them. Dallas looking pretty good. I think maybe Dak might have some competition for the starting role there.
Yeah, Cooper Rush looking pretty good. He's playing well.
Isn't he? He's what, 2-0 so far?
He is indeed 2-0.
Unreal. If he keeps winning, I'm sorry. I'm telling Dak to take a seat.
Yep. Yep. No, I don't. I hear you, man. I think there might be some unhappy Cowboys fans, but I guess as long as the team keeps winning, then you
Right.
know.
Winning solves everything.
By
And
the
then,
way, a quick note on the Commanders. I think we've talked about it here for a couple of weeks now, but that team is just atrocious. Which is, I
yes,
mean, Dan Snyder needs to get out of there. He's again one of the worst owners in professional sports.
they are the worst
Um,
team in the NFL. I don't even think it's debatable.
I think it's close. Again, I think Chicago is in the mix, and Houston is definitely in the mix.
Okay, it's a little
Um,
debatable.
but yeah, it's slightly debatable. But yeah, I mean, and it's interesting because Washington has some talent. I mean, Antonio Gibson is a decent running back. They have really good receivers. Terry McLaurin is a really good receiver. Jahan Dotson is a really talented rookie.
Curtis Samuel, my
Um,
guy.
Curtis Samuel, yeah, great, great, great receiver. But yeah, I mean, Carson Wentz cannot get them the ball, and that's a problem. That
Why
is a
aren't they
problem.
benching him at all? I
I
mean,
know.
I
I
know they
know.
paid him way too much, but
Who's
still,
their backup even?
I have no idea.
I don't even know who their backup is either. Jeez.
Talk about throwing someone on the spot, Jared. You're asking me Washington's backup is. And then you had Seattle and Detroit score a zillion points.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
that game was just
What a
ridiculous.
ridiculous game.
Didn't I say last week take the over on that one too?
You did indeed say take the over on that one.
Now, if only I took my own advice, because
48 to 45. I think that's the first 48 to 45 game in NFL history.
wow, 93 points,
Yeah.
unreal. I would have figured there would have been one or two others though, but I guess
Yeah. Detroit put up 45 without their best player. Amon-Ra St. Brown was out this week with an ankle injury, and they
right.
didn't have DJ Chark either at receiver. So, yeah, they still put up 45 points.
Yeah, I don't know if any of those teams really has a defense to brag about. I figured
No.
Seattle's defense was a
It
little
used to be
better.
good.
Yeah, the first game of the season, they looked really good against Denver,
Yep.
where they actually beat them. But this game, wow. It was good for me, though. I had Goff in fantasy football, so I'll take it.
I had, I had Jamal Williams, actually, which was really nice. That
Ah,
was a
so
good
you had a
pickup.
nice day.
I did have a decent day. And again, I also actually have Amon-Ra St. Brown on my team and had him on the bench and still had a nice week. So I will take that. I will take that for sure.
There you go. And by the way, I do want to mention before I forget, if any of our viewers out there have any comments for the show or questions or topics you'd like us to talk about, you could email them to me, news@hcam.tv. And
Yep.
we'll be happy to cover those topics or questions on the following show. So yeah, a number of good games. Chargers beat up on Houston. They got back on the winning track after
Yep.
a horrible loss the week before.
Austin Eckler had a monster week.
He certainly did. Uh, and I think you saw a little bit of the Chargers were kind of expecting the season, although it was Houston, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
And Tennessee beat Indy, well needed win for them, and a pretty
Yep.
bad loss for Indy. And Chicago lost to the Giants and looked horrible. They just cannot get anything going
They
offensively.
can't get into the end zone. I think they had four. I think their 12 points yesterday were on 4 field goals.
I mean, they have a pretty good defense, but their offense is just atrocious.
They can't pass the ball. Justin Fields cannot pass the ball. I think they have one of the worst passing percentages in the league this year, if not the
Right?
worst.
Yep, pretty bad. And Jacksonville, they had an early 14-0 lead in the first quarter, but didn't pretty much score again until late in the fourth in garbage time. So Philly took the win over them, and then Pittsburgh somehow lost to the Jets, which is
Yeah.
just unreal. And then they bring in the rookie.
Kenny
What's his name?
Pickett. Kenny Pickett actually looked pretty good. He looked okay in replacing Mitch Trubisky.
He looked better than
Um,
Trubisky.
he definitely did. He definitely did. I mean, again, it'll take probably a little bit of time, but he looked promising back there.
Well, supposedly he's the new starter. I think Trubisky just got demoted.
Yep.
And
Well, as it probably should be.
yes, I think that is the right decision. And then in the 4 o'clock games, some good ones. You had Arizona get a well-needed win against Carolina, and
Baker
you were the only
Mayfield's
one to
just a
pick
mess.
Arizona. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Baker Mayfield is just a mess.
Yeah,
Carolina cannot play offense. Like they can't. I don't know. Baker Mayfield is not getting his guys the ball, and yeah, that is a team in shambles.
I think he's having trouble with the new system over there.
He probably is.
And Vegas beat up on Denver, who is just having all kinds of problems offensively.
Yep,
They're having a rough transition.
they are.
And you would have figured it would have been a little bit easier with Russell Wilson. I still think Denver is going to get better as the season goes on.
Although they did, there's Javonte Williams, their starting running back, tore his ACL, so he's out for the season.
That doesn't help.
And Melvin Gordon lost a fumble that I think was returned 65 yards for a touchdown in the game. So,
Unreal.
sure they, yeah,
And we had a great New England Green Bay showdown. I thought Green Bay was going to run away with that game. They certainly didn't. New England almost pulled it off. I think it was one of the better coached games by Bill Belichick, working with what he had to at least keep that game competitive. The defense looked pretty good, and so did Bailey Zappe. And then Tampa Bay's defense totally falling apart on Mahomes. That was pretty bad defensive performance by Tampa.
that was bad.
And
That's
Brady
bad.
played good. Brady had a good game too.
Yep, yep. Brady had a good game. Evans had a great game. But their defense, yeah, was just getting torched.
Yep, certainly was. So there's your Sunday games in a nutshell. Now we move on to week 5, and we'll do some picks. Thursday night football, we got Indianapolis at Denver. I am very torn on this game because
I am very torn on this one as well.
I don't trust any team in this one. So let's start off with what two guys on the show typically picked that aren't here today. Andy picked Denver. Steve picked Denver. Jared, who are you going with?
I was gonna take Denver, but again, now that Javonte Williams, their starting running back, is out, that probably hinders things a bit. I just don't know if I fully trust Indy. Indy has looked bad. Matt Ryan hasn't looked great. Michael Pittman is not really doing much. Jonathan Taylor, obviously, I'm gonna still take Denver. If that bites me in the butt, so be it.
All right. Denver for you.
This is a tough one. This is a weird one.
It is a weird one.
Use your tie card here, man. I mean, geez.
Yeah, I'm going to use my tie card. Definitely. But yeah, I don't know. Matt Ryan did not look good last week.
No,
Yeah, I'm going to
it's
go.
not good the last couple weeks.
But you know what? I'm kind of falling behind a bit, so give me Indy.
There you go. I like it. I
That's
like it again.
just because.
This is one of those weird games that could be, I don't know, could go either way, could be close, or it could be, low scoring. Yeah,
The plan is to pick up a game on everybody. Usually that backfires, so we'll see. New York Sunday 9:30 in London. New York Giants at the Green Bay Packers. I'm going Green Bay in this. Uh, I think the Giants definitely improved this year, but I don't think they have what it takes to beat Green Bay. So give me the Packers. Andy has the Giants. Steve has Green Bay. Who do you have, Jared?
I'm going Green Bay here. I think, yeah, I don't know. Giants 3-1. I don't know.
First time the Packers have ever played in London. I think the fans are gonna love it because Green Bay is one of those classic franchises that
Yeah.
they've been around forever and they just have fans all over. So I think there'll be a lot of excitement for that game. Pittsburgh at Buffalo as we move on to the Sunday 1 o'clock games. There is no way I am picking Pittsburgh after they just lost to the Jets. I do not trust them at all. And Buffalo is just too good. Give me Buffalo. Andy went Buffalo. Steve went Buffalo. Jared,
Buffalo.
I thought so. I was already starting to write it in before you even answered.
Good. Yes.
Pittsburgh's kind of a mess. I think they're falling apart unless this guy Pickett's the answer. But even with that, I still don't know if they have enough.
And I know Buffalo's looked shaky a bit the last couple of weeks, but I'm still high on Buffalo. I think, their offense is dangerous. And again, when their defense really is clicking, their defense is maybe the best in the league. So
Absolutely. I have to agree. LA Chargers at Cleveland. Cleveland lost to Atlanta. They're starting to look, I mean, they're kind of bipolar. There's been weeks that they looked really good. There's been weeks that defense looked really good and weeks they look really bad. But I think the Chargers are starting to overcome some obstacles, and I think they're molding into the Chargers that we expected. So I think they are going to take this game. Andy and Steve also went Chargers. Who are you going with?
I'm also going with the Chargers again. I think I know it was against the Texans, but I think that performance this past weekend gave the Chargers probably some confidence and we'll get their offense going for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Game of the week Houston at Jacksonville.
Give me Jacksonville. Honestly, yeah.
It's Jacksonville across the board.
Yep.
Because they almost beat Philadelphia.
They're decent, yeah. And I mean, Houston is just atrocious.
Yeah, I do think this will be a game, though. It's going to be one of those weird division games that probably go down to the end.
You're probably right.
It's either going to be a 37-34 game or like a 10-6 game.
Yep. No in between. Speaking
of what could be a 10-6 game, Chicago at Minnesota.
Oh gosh.
I'm going Minnesota.
I'm going Minnesota. Yeah, Chicago's just cannot play offense.
No, they just can't get anything going. Andy and Steve also went Minnesota.
Justin Jefferson could probably beat Chicago on his own.
Yeah, I think so.
That guy's a beast, man. Although he struggled last week. He did not have a good game, but
the Saints played really good defense in that game. Well, for a big portion of it.
I mean, he had a decent game. I'm talking about, I guess, the weekend before. He really struggled. He got shut down. But yeah, he's too good.
Yeah, absolutely. He is
going. In my fantasy league, the guy who has Justin Jefferson also has Cooper Kupp. So that's pretty lethal. I felt that wrath a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
That's a pretty good rotation. All right. Detroit at New England. We're going to wait on that because I still haven't decided. And
I think I have decided, but yeah.
We'll wait on it. All right. Seattle at New Orleans. I'm torn on this game, but I'm going to go New Orleans. I thought their defense looked pretty good. And Seattle, despite the fact they scored 1 million points on Detroit and their offense is looking good, I think New Orleans will settle them down, and they certainly won't score as many points as they did last week. But Andy and Steve disagree. They both took Seattle. Who are you taking, Jared?
This is a weird one because I don't I would normally take New Orleans here, but again, New Orleans is in a weird situation where you don't know the status still of Jameis Winston, and Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara next week, all of whom missed the game against the Vikings the other day.
What, you don't have faith in the Red Rocket?
He
Don't look pretty good last week.
He looked okay. He looked okay. Made a couple of decent throws. Yeah, I don't know. I'll take the Saints. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm assuming there that also that some of those guys are going to play. At least Kamara. I mean, again, Kamara, as we know, is a difference maker. Michael Thomas is a really good receiver. Although Chris Olave stepped up and had a nice game this past weekend. I think he had, 70 yards and a touchdown for my fantasy team as well. So,
He
yeah,
did have a good game.
I like him. He's a good player, man.
And part of me's banking on Kamara being back as well.
Yeah.
I think he's supposed to be.
If he's not, I think Seattle wins this game, and I'll take a fat L here. But yeah,
All right. Miami at the Jets. The Jets had their moment of glory last week. I don't think they're going to have a moment of glory this week. Miami's going to be without Tua.
yeah. Teddy Bridgewater probably starting there. Yeah,
They still have Bridgewater. I still got faith in them. I'm going Miami. Andy went Jets. Steve went Miami. Who are you going with?
is this at the Jets or is this at Miami?
At the Jets in the Meadowlands.
Oh, interesting.
Cue the Jets.
This is weird. I'm gonna go Miami, but I would be surprised if the Jets keep this close or maybe even squeak out a weird win here.
I think it will be close. I don't know if they can get two weird wins in a row, though.
True. If they do, that would be yeah.
If they win this game, I believe Buffalo would still be first, but they'd be tied for second in the division.
They would.
Because Buffalo has one loss. Correct?
Yeah.
One loss.
Yeah.
All right. Atlanta at Tampa Bay.
Didn't Miami beat Buffalo last weekend though, right?
Right. Yeah, that was Buffalo's first loss.
Yeah, that's Buffalo's first and only loss.
And that was the week before last. Miami lost to Cincinnati on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
And Buffalo just barely beat Baltimore, but an epic comeback by Buffalo in that game.
Yeah.
All right, Atlanta at Tampa Brady. I think Brady is probably fuming after that horrific defensive performance against the Chiefs. It's one thing to lose to the Chiefs. It's another thing to give up 41 points. I think he's going to take out his anger on Atlanta and just crush them.
I second that.
All right, Tampa across the board, as I figured that one would go. Tennessee at Washington.
I'm not taking Washington.
Yeah, no. Tennessee across the board. Andy,
I can't take Washington until I see like a breakout performance from Washington.
Good luck seeing that one.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll get that all season.
You might get one. You might get one or two games because again, their receivers are too good. Again, if you take that game where Wentz can actually get them the ball like legitimately, he has guys that can make plays. So I don't know, but yeah, we'll see. They have a terrible team though.
Maybe if they bring in the mysterious backup that will remain nameless.
I'm kind of curious now. I got to look this up actually. Who the Redskins or the Commanders backup is?
That's right. We're HCAM Sports Talk. We're going to teach everyone who the Washington Commanders backup quarterback is. All right. So we are not picking. Well, you do that. We are not picking San Francisco at the Rams or at Carolina right now because San Francisco they're going to play in Monday Night Football the day we're recording the show.
Looks like it's Taylor Heineke.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. He was pretty good last year.
Yeah,
he won a playoff game.
I think he did win a playoff game. Yes.
And then he gave Brady and the Bucks all they could handle.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
I think that was last year. Yeah. Why isn't he?
Was that last year or the year before? No, I think that was last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was last year. Why isn't he starting? Wentz. They paid Wentz a ton of money, but still, I mean, go with the guy who's better, who gives you a better chance to win.
Yep.
All right. So the only game we're going to pick in the 4 o'clock hour is Philly at Arizona. Andy went Philly. Steve went Philly. Who are you going with, Jared?
I can't pick against Philly here. I think they're the best team in the league right now. It's close again. Another one that's debatable, but I think Philly is the top team in the league right now. I can't pick against Philly.
You know, I've picked against Philly before and it hasn't gone very well, but you know what? I'm
You're
picking
doing
them.
it this
I'm
week.
picking against them.
Love it.
I think we see the real Philly. I don't think they're as good as people think. They've had kind of a soft schedule. You know, they beat Jacksonville, pretty good comeback, but still it's Jacksonville. They beat Washington. That barely counts. And before that,
I
they
think they beat Minnesota.
that is impressive. That one I'll give them. And then in
Yeah.
week 1, they beat Detroit. They've had a very soft schedule, so I'm going Arizona here.
I like it.
I do think Philly, though, will probably win the NFC East.
Yeah. Unless Dallas like somehow continues to get absurdly hot and go nuts. Or
Or
again,
just
the Giants are 3-1, but the Giants cannot sustain the 3-1 pace,
or if
in
they
my
just
opinion. Again, if they do, props to them.
as long as they bench
Credits to
Dak
them.
and go with Cooper Rush. I mean,
Yeah.
I give Dallas a better chance with Rush right now. Sunday night. Oh, wait, we got to go back to the New England game. Detroit at New England, 1 p.m. game. I am very torn on this one, so I'll tell you who Andy and Steve went with first. Andy went New England. Steve went New England. I haven't picked New England yet this season. Will I today? You'll find out right after Jared's pick. Jared, who are you going with?
I'm gonna pick New England, but I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it. I think Detroit has a very legit offense that can give our defense some real problems. The only problem for Detroit is as well is they have a terrible defense. And if we can move the ball like we did against the Packers, against the Lions, then we can probably score some points. So I'm going to pick the Patriots, but I would not be surprised if the Lions won this game at all.
I'm gonna go.
Well,
I'm gonna go with the Patriots only if Bailey Zappe starts.
yep. Yeah.
But I'll go Patriots here. I just can't bring myself to pick Detroit over them.
I really want to pick Detroit here. I'm not going to lie, but
I
I think
almost did. I have New England.
Detroit's defense is just too, again, Detroit's defense just gave a 48 to a team that says Geno Smith is their starting quarterback.
Yeah, but I mean, I could just picture Mac messing that game up. But Detroit, yeah, they're going to put up a lot of points in this, especially if the secondary is not playing well.
Yeah. And they
But
could have some players back. I mean, again, like we talked about, they had a couple of receivers out this weekend that could be back for this game. So
right.
those guys are back. That only makes their offense that much more lethal.
And will they finally give Kendrick Bourne some snaps?
Hopefully,
You'd hope.
hopefully.
So New England across the board for the first time this season. Sunday night football, Cincinnati Bengals at the Baltimore Ravens. I am very torn on this one. This is
I'm
going to
very
be
torn on this one. This is maybe my toughest, yeah, one of the toughest decisions of the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore's not going to be happy after blowing a 17-point lead last week. But Cincinnati, they're just fresh off a win against Miami, where they
Yep.
kind of look like the Bengals that I think we all expected.
Yep.
Because they did not look good coming into that game, but I feel like they're starting to come into their own and they're getting back into their competitive ways. But we'll start off with Andy and Steve. They both picked Cincinnati. Jared,
I'm also going to pick Cincinnati. I was leading towards Cincinnati a bit just because I think their offense is, again, rounding into form right now. I think Baltimore could have a again, a bit of a let off after kind of rough end of that game against Buffalo. A little bit of a still regression, but anytime you have Lamar Jackson, you can win a football game. I don't know. Give me Cincinnati here.
Baltimore has lost 2 of their last 3 games.
Yep.
And I think they're going to lose this one to Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati showed me a lot last week, how great their defense can be. I picked Miami last week. I didn't think Cincinnati was going to win because they haven't been impressive, but I think they are starting to get back into their AFC winning ways. So
Yep.
I do think this will be a very close game and a very exciting game, but I'll go Cincinnati. Monday Night Football, we got the Las Vegas Raiders at the Kansas City Chiefs. After what Mahomes just did to the Bucks, there's no way I could pick against Mahomes. I'm going Chiefs. So is Andy and Steve. Who you going with, Jared?
Chiefs.
All right.
Again, for me, it's like a 1A with Philly and then 1B at the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs have not only a lethal offense, but again, some of those plays around the goal line when they're in the red zone, they have some of the most creative play calling. I mean, they had, Noah Gray, former Leominster player, kind of take that weird tight end sneak last night from a yard out. Not many teams are probably doing that and doing it successfully for a touchdown. They're so creative with their plays in the red zone. Mahomes again is just insane.
I'll tell you, Andy Reid has done a tremendous job with that offense.
Yes.
They lose Tyreek Hill, so they don't really have that crazy deep field threat like they used to, but they know how to nickel and dime really quickly way up the field. And I love the versatility of their offense. I think it's great. And I almost think that maybe it's even a little better for Mahomes to have this kind of rink and dink kind of offense and just work really quickly. They don't huddle too long. It's kind of just a quick moving offense and it overwhelms people. And Vegas, they have had one of the worst defenses in football. So they're going to have a hard time stopping this Chiefs team, I think.
Yep. I agree.
But I will say this, it is a divisional game and those AFC West games tend to go very weirdly. So
they do.
It'll probably end up being close.
But the Chiefs, again, I mean, you talk about the loss of Tyreek Hill. They bring in Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdez-Scantling from the Packers, a couple of guys that can make plays. And again, what can you say about Travis Kelce? Travis Kelce is, again, the best tight end in football, and he's so good. It's crazy how good that guy is.
What? Cordero Patterson's on the IR?
That's not good for Atlanta.
That is not good for my fantasy team. So there's your breaking news. Cordero Patterson is on the IR. That we don't know how long yet. It's saying it looks like he's going to be eligible to return in week 9 against the Chargers. So that is heartbreaking for my fantasy team for sure. But Patterson to the IR, that is not cool. And that is like Atlanta's biggest offensive threat.
Besides maybe Kyle Pitts and
they're going to be hurting without him.
They are.
They're trying to go to the speed route with their offense, just pretty much fly up the field and overwhelm defenses.
Yep.
But they're going to have to do it now without.
I think they will improve, but again, I think Patterson being out will be tough.
Yeah, that is going to be tough. I mean, they played part of the game yesterday without him or on Sunday without him, and they looked okay, but they were clearly missing him on some occasions.
Well, they brought in, what's his name? Tyler Algier, I think is his name. He's the backup running back or something, but he looked pretty good.
Yeah, and someone already picked him up in my league, of course. But but yeah, I mean, I don't know what to expect out of this Atlanta team. I mean, I don't think they're going to be much above 500, if anything. but they do have a lot of
probably.
speed. I'll give them that.
They do. They have playmakers, but yeah.
Their offense is very different from what it was with Matt Ryan.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
more of a college type of offense.
Yeah. But
So
again, they have young players. I mean, it kind of caters well towards them with Kyle Pitts and Drake London, and yeah, I mean those guys are young players that are still probably a little fresh on some of those college offenses, and yeah,
and I did love how they pretty much transitioned Patterson into a full-time running back. I thought that was pretty clever.
and he's played pretty well. He's played pretty well.
He's been one of the top rushers in the league, believe
Yeah,
it or not.
yeah.
But anyways, believe it or not, we're out of time. So let's get into final thoughts. Jared, do you have any final thoughts?
Any final thoughts? Yeah, I guess just not sports related, but just shout out to everybody, or not a shout out, I guess, just praying for everybody in Florida who was affected by the massive hurricane that struck there on the West Coast, then went across the state. Places like Fort Myers and Naples were just annihilated. Yeah, uh, not. I know it's not a great situation down there, and it's interesting that there was the football game last night, even in Tampa. Tampa got spared a little bit. My family has a place down in Florida in Longboat Key, um, which is on the West Coast next to Sarasota. And there was a little bit of slight damage, but, we got spared a little, mostly there too. But I know a lot of people didn't and had a lot of impact. So, yeah.
Yeah, it certainly did. And I certainly second those thoughts for Florida, and my prayers are with all who were affected by that very powerful hurricane.
Yep.
Did a lot of damage, and the big problem with it is they didn't really know where it was going to hit. They initially
Yep.
thought it was going to be the Tampa area, and it hit further south,
South.
and a lot of people were caught off guard by it. So unfortunately, there were some
And obviously, some of those areas that took a good beating were, those are a lot of people hopefully got out of there. I know, but I'm sure probably some people stayed that wanted to stay and didn't want to evacuate. But I mean, Fort Myers is a populated area with a lot of, you know, um, expensive hotels, buildings, whatever that probably got damaged.
right.
And same with Naples. There's a lot going on in Naples. So yeah,
I've been in
not
Naples.
great.
I've been in Naples. Very nice over there.
Yep. Same.
But our thoughts are with everybody who was affected by that terrible storm. Just awful stuff. But that is my final thoughts. I almost forgot. The Hillers football team, well, they took a tough loss to a very well coached and good, talented Foxborough team. And Foxborough, I got to give them credit. That is a very young team, a team that lost, I think it was 29 seniors to graduation, and 17 of their starting players from last season.
Yep.
And their defense was absolutely tremendous. It was pretty unbelievable. And they were 0-3 heading into the game, but they have been very battle tested throughout the season. They've played pretty much three of the top teams in the state. So that 0-3 record to me did not mean they were a bad team based on their level of competition, but they got a big win over Hopkinton in a very well fought out game. I thought Hopkinton's defense was tremendous. It was, if you like defensive football, this was certainly a game to watch. A lot of good defense on both sides, but I just want to say to the Hillers, you got a lot of talent. You got a lot going for you. Keep your heads high. And they take on Norwood at home next Friday night. We'll be there. Should be a big TVL large clash and a very important game too, playoff wise. It should be a good battle, and I'm looking forward to it. These Hillard Norwood games are always very crazy and very back and forth. So it should be a great game this coming Friday night. But for Jared Keene, I'm Tom Nappy. We thank you for joining us on HCAM Sports Talk. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again soon. Goodbye, everybody. Hiller girls soccer took on Ashland on Monday, September 12th. The scoring got started in the first half. Good defense by the Hillers. Up to their side. Sent over. Keeper going to come way out. Open net. Looking for the shot. Takes it and makes it. Joanna DuPont makes it 1-0 Hillers. Trying to sneak it through Dever. Here comes Ashland, look out. Hurlahai comes out and it's put in. Colby Lima. Another instance where the keeper decides to come out, way out, and the forward able to get by her, and it's a 1-1 game. Nina sends it over. Here comes Madison Recupero. Look out, she's got moves. Leaves it behind for Georgina, charging in, shot, goal! What a feed and what a score for the Hillers. A 2-1 Hopkinton lead heading into the second half. They added on. Getting in there, Nina. Zaganaitis sends it over to DuPont. Takes a shot and rips it in! Joanna DuPont with another goal, her second of the day. Joanna DuPont, that's her second goal of the day, and the Hillers take the 3-1 win over Ashland and improve to 2-0 on the season. Hillers field hockey took on Westwood under the lights Wednesday night. After a scoreless first half, Westwood racked up 4 goals in the second half. Sent out in front, there's a shot and it's in! Guave Foley sends it to Ashley Breran, who pops it in. It's 1-0 Westwood. And they would take the win 4-0. Hillers fell to 1-2-1 on the season. Westwood improved to 3-1. On Friday, September 16th, Hiller boys soccer battled Westwood. Despite some good pressure by both teams and some good shots on net, the game ended in a 0-0 draw. Both teams picked up a standings point. Hillers are now 2 wins, 1 loss, 1 tie on the season. Westwood is now 1 win, 1 loss, 3 ties on the season. Hiller girls varsity volleyball took on Westwood that night. Steve Sweetapple and Matt Clancy on the call.
Olympia Deisenroth checking in the front row. Sarah Pessin back to serve for the Hillers. Over. Going to be tough. And Hopkinton takes set number 1, 29-27. And that's Lane Fennell back to serve for Westwood. Gets it over. Hebert is there. Coop, bump set. Going to be tough for Hardenbrook, who does just get it over. Set from Fennell. And Hardenbrook keeps it in. Can Abby keep? What a play by Abby Hebert. Fennell with the set. Swing by Karen Jacobs is controlled by Olivia in the back row. Back to Hardenbrook for the swing. Another great dig by Westwood. Jacobs swings it over again. Carraz is there in the back row. Coop with the set for Annabelle, falling over to the side. Controlled by Stokes. Fennell with the set. Blocked at the net. Sarah took it over. That's going to be trouble for Westwood. Ooh, might have been a 4th hit there. Couldn't tell. Coop with a set over the side for Annabelle. Swings. Fennell with another set for Jacobs. Point for Hopkinton, and that will be the set. That was 4 hits. up. Let's see if Sarah can close things out. Rocket serve over the net, controlled by Buscone. Easton set to McManus. Almost blocked the net. Armbar! Olivia calls everybody off, gets it over. Controlled by Westwood. Fennel with the set to McManus. Big swing and long! And that will do it, folks. Hopkinton takes the third set, 25-17. They sweep Westwood.
The Hillers take a well-needed win via a 3-0 sweep. Hopkinton improved to 2-3 on the season.